Um, all right, well, let me just bring up my presentation here, and then we will be ready to go. Um, and um, just for those of you that have just showed up here, um, just to confirm that you're on the right track, this is the Reputation Hacks class, and this is a live event that we are um, doing that's teaching you some unknown, well, they're not completely unknown, but little known, I would say, um, hacks and tactics for pushing bad results off of Google page one. And some of the things I'm going to talk about actually are going to be talking about removing things completely from Google or from the web completely. Um, but the easiest one that I'm going to start with is basically for pushing bad results off of page one. So just to confirm how this works, if you could um, just if you have questions during each section, I'm going to end at the end of each section and take questions about that specific section. So if you can wait until the end of a section to ask your question, that way I'll be sure that you still have that question. Sometimes people type in questions and then I end up answering them, but then it's hard to tell if we actually got that question answered. Um, uh, so we'll leave time after each section. There's going to be 3 main sections to this class, and we'll probably go for a couple hours here, I could imagine. And then I'll take questions about that section at the end. All right. And Aubrey's here with me. She's going to be monitoring and sort of moderating the questions. So if you haven't been on a GoToWebinar before, the way you ask a question is there should be a little GoToWebinar control panel, a little piece of software on your screen where you can type in a question. There should be a question box there. If you don't see your GoToWebinar software, there should be a little orange arrow floating somewhere on your screen. If you click that orange arrow, it'll expand the software out so that you can see it. All right. Let me just close down a couple things here. Save myself some bandwidth. All right. So, reputation hacks. The reason why I call these hacks is these are definitely off of the radar as far as Google's acceptable use of the first page of Google. It's something that some of these are against their terms of service explicitly. Some of them are sort of on the gray side, but that's why I named it hacks. A lot of these techniques aren't hacks in the sense of, you know, short-term loopholes that are going to close soon. These are things that are, you know, going to last for a long time. But they are hacks in the sense that they are somewhat black hat or on the gray hat side. Some of them are white hat, but some of them are more on the black hat or gray hat side. Okay, so just to clarify what this class includes, it includes 3 things. An easy push button solution. This is going to be the solution that I'm going to recommend that everyone try first, because this is, you know, this is a it's really the easiest way to deal with reputation management techniques, and it's something that once I came upon it, really compared with the standard reputation management stuff where you're backlinking Web 2.0 pages and stuff like that, it's a lot of work. It's a lot easier, and so I recommend everybody do this first. easy push button solution, which is the one I talked about a lot with the story there on my sales page with my aunt's business. That was sort of the case study that I made public. But we've done this other times since then as well. So we're going to talk about that first, and then we're going to give you 12 other little known online reputation management backup techniques for um, uh, managing these types of situations. Some of them will involve SEO, some of them won't. And then for very difficult cases, some of you might be on here and you might be on a difficult case. If you try all the techniques that I teach in the first two bullets and it doesn't work, then I'll do a custom video review for you myself, giving you my take on this stuff. I've dealt with a lot of different situations like this, and not every technique works for every situation, and I know that. So I want to make sure that I give you guys every possible support that I can to make sure that you can fix these problems for yourself and for your clients. But that'll only be after you use the other techniques. So I'm not just trying to get, a lot of times everyone's going to send me their questions and then I'm just going to tell them, hey, did you actually do the stuff that I taught in the class? But if you do the stuff that I teach in this class and it really doesn't work and you're still dealing with just bad results that are stuck there on the top of Google, then I will do a review for you and give you step-by-step recommendations for what you can do to get those bad results off. Okay, so here is the step-by-step solution. The push button solution that we're going to teach first, and that is click-through rate. For those of you that are aware, Google is using click-through rate and other user behavior to influence how they rank sites in their search results. And this is really one of the sort of last frontiers, if you will, of search engine results manipulation, is manipulating things like click-through rate, bounce rate, and things like that, because this is something not a lot of people are talking about. Not a lot of people have tested it out, and I'm going to show you where you can see sort of the people on the cutting edge of this that are really doing this stuff, and the kind of techniques they're using. But manipulating click-through rate is sort of a brand new area that most people don't know about, but it works great for reputation management. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, why it works so well for reputation management. But it can also work in situations where you want to push good results above the competition. And however, there are some limitations to that, which I'll also talk about in a few minutes. It works really good for reputation management, for pushing good results above, bumping good results up. Manipulating CTR, click-through rate, is a little more difficult. And I'll talk about that, why. But basically, when you manipulate click-through rate, and I'll give you an example right now. Say we do a web search for web designer, and we've got all these results on the first page of Google. The way we, and this is going to seem so simple to you, and actually is relatively simple once I explain it. There's some specific ways you need to set this up, but the way we get bad results to drop is on the first page of Google. Say you've got a bad result like this one. Okay, and this is not a bad result, but say Chicago web design, we want this one to drop off the first page. What we basically do is we simulate a high click-through rate on every single page below this one. Every single result on the first page of Google, except for this one, we simulate high click-through rates over a period of time. And then what happens is the algorithm sees that, wow, on the first page of Google, this result really isn't getting clicked that much. And these 5 below it are getting clicked much more than this one. In fact, a large percentage of the clicks a high rate of those clicks are going to the 5 below it, and a very few are clicking on this page. This page must not be relevant to those that are searching. And then what ends up happening is Google will push this result off of the first page, based purely on user behavior. And a lot of people don't realize how powerful user behavior is to Google. This is the way everything is moving with what Google's doing, with their algorithm, is basing a lot of stuff on individual users, their behaviors, their locations, their past search habits, all these types of things Google's trying to get a handle on. And one of the big things, and one of the easiest things for them to measure, is just purely click-through rate. Now, another thing you could manipulate, which I haven't actually tested, is bounce rate. That would mean you would simulate a bunch of people going to ocean19.com and then immediately clicking their back button and going back to the search results page. Now, that's something I haven't tested, just because if you're dealing with a client site, I didn't want to accidentally give my bad pages that I was trying to bump off, give them a higher click-through rate than necessary, and I never had a good chance to test it. But that's something you might want to test yourself. Once I give you these tools, you're going to see how you could test bounce rate as well, to see if you can get a page to drop based on bounce rate. But definitely click-through rate is a major way that Google is measuring these which pages belong on the first page and which don't. That's an overview of how it works. Let me give you just a quick history about this. You may have seen, if you look at this page, I'll send this out to everybody, but this is a page from Rand Fishkin. Let me send this out to everybody here. That should appear in your chat box. He did a test where he had just had basically his Twitter followers all do a search for this keyword phrase, IMEC Lab, and click on number 7, IMEC Lab, help test, validate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And what he found was, really within hours after people did this, okay, this IMEC Lab result bumped from number 7 up to number 1. And you can see he measured it with the time, 9:01 p.m. there and 6:03 p.m. So within 3 hours, that bumped up. Now, if you do a search now, let's do a search for IMEC Lab, see if it's still in number 1 position. So it's still in number 1 position. Now, obviously, it's been a while since this happened, so we don't know what other factors are influencing this be in number 1 position. But you can see, obviously, it did not bump back down to its number 7 position. All right. So now that's not what we're trying to do. This is bumping good results up, not bumping bad results down. So we have to essentially do the opposite to bump bad results down. But these types of articles have started to come out a little bit, where people are starting to test this out on a limited basis, and it's mostly in the white hat world. People are publishing this stuff, and so people are saying, for instance, here's another one on the Silkstream blog, where he talks about his own tests to bump results up based on CTR. But all these folks are white hatters, so they're sort of averse to manipulating these search results in a false way. And it's actually, I thought this was so ironic. It actually says here, click-through rates tend to be consistent relative to position in the search query. If this was a real long-term solution that worked, people would be paying internet workers in third world countries to click and search things on Google all day long, which is ironically close, not exactly, but close to what I'm going to teach you to do. But people don't, because Google's not stupid. But actually, Google is that stupid, which we're going to find out in a few minutes. I'll teach you how to do this. Okay, here's some important notes before I give you the details of how this works, okay? First of all, it needs to be a lowish search volume, which obviously is an example of why it works so well with this IMEC Lab keyword phrase from Rand, because how many search queries really per month do you think IMEC Lab gets? Not that many, right? So that makes it easier to manipulate the click-through rate without having to generate millions and millions of clicks. If you tried to do this on a keyword phrase that gets massive numbers of clicks, like, 10,000 clicks per month, you can imagine how many fake clicks you would have to generate in order to influence the data. If you just send 50, 100, 500 clicks, it's not going to do anything for a keyword phrase that has 10,000 searches per month. So that's part of the reason why it works so well with reputation management, because most of the time your name or your client's name, or a small to mid-sized business name isn't getting thousands of searches per month. It's getting usually hundreds, maybe 1,000 or two, but it enables us to generate false, or not false, but fake click-throughs and influence the click-through rate without having to purchase, millions of clicks to do the trick. So that's why it works well in a reputation management setting where there is a low-ish search volume. Also, it works mainly on organic search engine results. And Graydon, I saw that you had asked that, so I knew I'd be answering that later, so I didn't answer it right then. But it works mainly on organic search result pages. Okay, so I've actually done this. I've tested this out with, I think it was dumpster rental. At the time, I was rehabbing a house, so I just used what was on my mind. But it didn't work with a local pack, or at least it didn't work to bump up a local pack result. And so it might work for localized organic results. So what you see down here, these are localized organic results. I'm getting all these results because I'm in Chicago. Google's showing me all these, but these aren't in a local pack. These are regular organic results. So it probably work for that, but it doesn't work for a local pack like this, or like we saw with in case of like website design. We've got this local pack here. I've tested this extensively, trying to move these up and down based on click-through rate, and I've seen things bump up and down based on click-through rate, but usually it's temporary. Whereas with the non-local pack results, these types of results, just the regular organic results, the click-through rate influences the ranking for a long time. It's a long-term effect. So definitely worth more testing here, though. I mean, it does seem to be influencing it somewhat. I've seen stuff bump around and jump up and down according to click-through rate as I've simulated that, but wasn't able to really figure out a way to use it that would really work for long term and would have a lasting result. So works mainly on the organic search. It's also strongest if combined with other tactics. Okay, so it doesn't depend on other tactics, but other tactics like creating YouTube videos or microdata or site links, these are all examples of things that really draw people to click. So for instance, if I do a search for Walgreens, let's do a search for Target. You can see that Target has this thing called site links, and this is where Google's giving you brand, because it's a brand search, you're getting a site link display here for Target, and this draws all the clicks. I mean, when people search for Target, they're not going to scroll down at all. I mean, everything that they're looking for is going to be in this top result. And so this is going to have a high click-through rate naturally. That helps a lot. It also helps if you combine it with, so you can imagine, say you do a search for your client's name or your name, and or the client's business, and they have site links here right at the top where there's like 6 links all on their domain name that are showing, that are taking up a ton of the first page. That's going to help a lot for this to be a long-lasting result, because if you have a rip-off reports or you have some kind of scandalous, controversial link on the first page, it draws clicks. That's the problem with these bad pages, is that once they're out there, they increase, and it's sort of almost like a momentum, because they get more and more clicks because of how controversial they are, which increases their click-through rate, which cements their position in the search engines. So one of the worst things you can do is obsess about this result and keep searching for your name day after day and clicking on that bad result, because you're actually cementing its position on the first page. Or your client, make sure your clients aren't doing that, because if they're doing it like, man, check this out, and they're sending it to their relatives, would you believe this thing's on the first page when you search for my name? And then all their relatives are searching for it and clicking on it, and it's already controversial. So we want to try to combat that by helping. Now, this isn't necessary, but it will help those bad pages to not get high click-through rates if they have site links like this. And any search for a company name, a brand, should get a site link result. I mean, if your page has any kind of authority, your website has any kind of authority, it should get site links. That's going to help a lot. It's not necessary, but it's going to help a lot. It's also going to help if it has a YouTube video. Okay, some kind of a YouTube video also helps a lot, which I've also done. These get clicked at a much higher rate, so then you're going to draw click-throughs to this YouTube video instead of the government page that's listing a lawsuit about the company, or the bad press that they got, or whatever. This little thumbnail will draw results to it. Another thing is microdata. So if you do, like, say, like a recipe is a great example of microdata. And we have videos on all this stuff in my members area. If a lot of you folks I know are members of my SEO Cash Club, we have videos on how to rank YouTube videos. We have videos on microdata and how to get microdata to display. You want to do this for your brand name searches. You want YouTube videos to pop up. You want results that have all kinds of stuff. So look at all this microdata here. You've got a image here. You got 55 minutes here listed. There's stars here, ratings. You've got all kinds of 858 reviews, all kinds of stuff here that's going to draw people's attention. If you compare these rich data listings to a boring listing like this, even though this listing is relatively high in the search results, people are going to skip down to this, Sally's baking addiction because of that thumbnail, or they're going to skip down to this Betty Crocker recipe because of the stars. So any excuse you can get to get microdata to display for your brand name search, you want to do that, because that's going to draw clicks to listings that you want people to click on, rather than on the controversial listings that are already showing on page 1. So that's why I say it's strongest if combined with other tactics. It's not necessary, but it's going to help those bad listings, once you get them off page 1, to stay there. Takes 2 to 4 weeks, sometimes longer. So it seems like, now I've never heard a word from Google where they verify this. This is my own testing, but it seems to refresh every 3 to 4 weeks. So that's why I was actually surprised at Rand Fishkin's result when he saw results within hours, because what I've seen really is 2 to 4 weeks. And it might be that what we're doing here is we're actually completely changing the landscape on the first page of Google. We're moving every single result up one or two, and we're moving one result page completely off the bottom of page 1. So maybe Google waits a little while before they make drastic changes like that, as opposed to just moving one thing up and down. You're actually moving every single result on page 1. So it might be why they wait. I don't know why, but it does seem to take 2 to 4 weeks. Also, it might be that they're looking for us, search click-through rates to change, and then they are looking for that to last over a few weeks before they make a major change. I don't know why, but it does seem to take 2 to 4 weeks. It could take longer too, because I've had cases where I got a bad result to bump down, but for instance, with rip-off reports is really a tough thing to get down. So like we got a lot of clicks going through. We got the rip-off reports bumped down a few listings, but then it's going to take a lot more clicks to get rip-off reports to keep going down. Um, so that's why you can't really, you got to set your client expectations out for a few weeks, because it's going to take time for Google to gather all that data and add it all together and then put that into their results on the first page. Now there is a CTR spam patent, so I want you to watch out for this, okay? And specifically what this CTR spam patent is it's related to over clicks. So they're looking, and this is a great blog post here that talks about the patent. Let me send this out to everybody. But it kind of shows, oh shoot, crashed my browser. All right, let's do this. Hold on a sec. Sorry, guys. Let me see if I can open this up in Chrome. Not sure why it's crashing my browser, but that way it won't crash the whole thing if it crashes. All right, here we go. All right, so you can see here, man, this is crashing Chrome too. Anyway, I'm not going to go to that page. You guys can look for it if you want to look. I just sent the link out to everybody. Not sure why it's crashing. Anyway, basically, what he showed in his graphic there, which was great, was that there's like a bell curve of acceptable click-through rates on the first page of Google, and what they're looking to do is they're looking for ways to tell if people are sending massive numbers of clicks that are out of the ordinary. They're not part of like a normal click-through rate of the of that keyword phrase. They have a record of how many clicks that keyword phrase has gotten in the past, and they're looking for it to be consistent. So you don't want to overdo it. Here's a link to the actual patent, and I'll talk to you about how there we go. Send that out to everybody about how let me see if I can find the phrase down here. You can read through this if you really want to geek out on this. But the other thing that they're doing is they're looking for geographical location, which is another thing we're going to do when we simulate our clicks. Is we're going to look for geographical location being in the general geographical location of people that are searching for that keyword phrase in the past, and we're going to keep it limited in that geographical location. It's another way that they're looking for. So basically, they're looking for, if there's a search phrase that's done primarily from people in California, and they are, they're doing and they're sending clicks from all over the world, and especially, they're offshoring it to like India and other places, and that they're gonna use that to figure out if this is click-through spam. So that's one way we're going to get around that. They also talk in here about the bell curve and sort of looking for a general acceptable CTR and number of clicks for that phrase. and using that to figure out if it's being manipulated or not. But the good thing about it is this patent is primarily focused on trying to identify people that are trying to bump a single result up. They're not really looking for, if you read through this, they're focusing on one single page and that page getting a bunch of clicks to it that are out of the ordinary. We're doing actually the opposite. We're doing a whole bunch of pages and just increasing the click-through rate enough to bump a single page down, which this patent isn't really looking for. But I have had times where I've sent so many clicks to results to a bunch of pages on the first, first page of Google search and found that it didn't do anything. So obviously I sent too many and I had exceeded sort of the threshold of what they're looking for. Okay, so how do we do this? Which all of you guys are like, okay, enough background, please just give me the technique. But I really want to encourage folks that that's really important, really important to get those basics. Don't skip over that stuff, because I'm going to have a bunch of people emailing me saying, I tried it and it didn't work, and not paying attention to these important notes. First, we tested with HMA, or Hide My Ass. And we, oops, that's not the right one. Which some of you might be familiar with, is a VPN service. And we ran it through some software that I'll show you. And you can actually get this software off of the U-Bot forum. I'll show you where it is. In case anybody wants to experiment with this. Hold on, let me send you guys the link. gTrafficBot. And let me send this out. So if you want to do this, basically what you do is you sign up for the Hide My Ass, the HMA service, and then you download this bot, which creates clicks to your page, whatever page you want, and you have to do them one at a time. And it's a cheap, it's pretty cheap. If you scroll down, I think it's only $47. However, it seems like Google is aware of all the IPs, or at least a lot of the IP addresses of the HMA service. So as you're running them through this software, a lot of those clicks don't appear to be as effective. Now, it did seem to do a little bit. It seemed to influence it a little bit, but it wasn't enough. I sent massive clicks and it wasn't enough to bump results down. So I think a lot of those IPs were either being repeated or they were already blacklisted by Google or somehow known. Now, the other thing is about this software is it also works with proxies. So if you have access to a massive number of proxies, like I'm talking about thousands of proxies, you could buy this and test it out with proxies. I haven't tested it out with proxies. It's possible that it would work, and it would be cheaper actually if you had a lot of proxies plus this traffic generator bot to do the same thing that I'm going to show you how to do using crowdsourcing. And it would be a lot cheaper to use the software if we could figure out a way to do it. But at this point, this is where I started, and it didn't really seem to work that well. So we went to crowdsourcing, and it worked great. We did it first through Mechanical Turk, and it worked great through Mechanical Turk, but then Mechanical Turk banned our accounts, and I keep getting banned by Mechanical Turk. Kind of got sick of it. They don't really allow you to manipulate search results, Google Mechanical or Amazon Mechanical Turk. If anyone's aware, this is a site where you can actually buy cheap tasks and get tasks completed for like 10 cents, 5 cents, 20 cents. You can get people to click and do specific tasks for you. But I think Amazon's just too big of a brand and they don't want trouble with Google. So they do not allow you to manipulate search results. So eventually, usually your Mechanical Turk thing gets reported and your account gets banned. So don't use Mechanical Turk for this unless you have a disposable Mechanical Turk account. But what did work great was microworkers. And microworkers is real similar to Mechanical Turk. You can crowdsource tiny little jobs that are really simple, like click on this, search for this, then click on this, or search for this and click on these 3 links. 20 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents a piece. And it works great. Microworkers allows a lot of, for lack of a better word, a lot of spammy tasks on their platform. They're sort of known for that. So you can get away with doing a lot more with microworkers. So this is the best solution that we recommend. And this, so you're going to need to log in to create a microworkers account and log in to that account. And then I'm going to show you how to do this. Specifically, I'm going to give you the specific format. Let me just sign into my account here off screen so I can show you how to set these up. All right, I'm logged in there. All right, but before I do, I want to show you what people are doing here on microworkers to really take gaming user behavior in the search engine results pages to the next level, because people are doing all kinds of stuff on microworkers, and this is sort of a bonus for you folks, because this is, there's stuff going on microworkers that hardly anyone is talking about. Obviously, yeah, like Jeff is saying, there's other sites like this other than microworkers. And yeah, the one that I've used where I know most of these will say on there, you're not allowed to game search results pages using our service and stuff like that. So, I just wanted to give you one I know that will accept this type of a task. Microworkers even reviews each task before they let it go public, and so I know that the actual microworkers reviewers have reviewed my tasks and allowed them through. So it's not like I'm doing this under the nose of microworkers.com. They're actually allowing these tasks. But a lot of them, there's a lot of other sites like this, but they will ban you if you try to do this type of a task. So you'd have to check. There's probably other ones you could check out, like shorttask.com. There's all kinds of them out there, but you need to do, just test out different services. Okay, so here's a couple of things just want to open your eyes to, and I hope I'm not exposing anyone who's on this webinar. I hope I'm not exposing what you're doing. But I want to show some real concrete examples of some things that other people are doing. This is a task that is gaming autocomplete. So what they're doing is they're getting people to search for this guy's name and then search for all these variations of that search phrase, so that basically when you type in his name, they're controlling what pops up in the Google autocomplete. And the autocomplete is when you're typing in a search phrase in Google and it gives you some other possible results that that you might want to search for, and it's a great way to get traffic. In fact, you can do this for phrases where your website is not showing up, but if they were to search for your website, it would show up. So say someone types in pumpkin pie recipe, well, you would be gaming autocomplete so that when they start typing pumpkin pie, it will automatically say pumpkin pie recipe on myrecipe website.com, and if someone's like, oh, what's that? MyRecipeWebsite.com. I never tried that before. And then instead of searching for the competitive phrase, they'll search for the phrase that includes your website, and then your website will be the first results. That's how people are doing that. It's really, really powerful. Now this one is really brilliant, and you can take this for an example of a way that you can really expand this out. But if you see what they've got, these people have a task set up in MicroWorkers, and they send you to this page. And each time you refresh the page, you can see it updates randomly the phrase that they're trying to get you to search, and they have it all built in. So all you have to do is copy and paste this into the box and then click search. And so that way they could run a ton of tasks on all kinds of different platforms and have people searching for this all over the world, and they can cover a lot of search phrases that way. So this is another really powerful automated way to do it. Here's one that is making black hat profiles look legit to Google. So, it used to be you could get backlinks by doing forum profile links, which is sort of like, ended as a useful strategy. But what they're doing is they're increasing the legitimacy of these profiles by getting a lot of people to click through them to their page. And their page probably has like Google Analytics on it or something. So what you do is you go to this page and you look for the link on that profile, and you click on it, and then that shows up in Google Analytics, and then Google can make a note, wow, there's a lot of traffic coming through this profile, this apple.com forum profile. That must be a real profile, not a fake one. Here's an example of people bumping a site up in the search results. So you can see here, go to Google, search for the term plumbers, San Antonio, Texas, click on the result with the title Brico Plumbing Co. Inc. So that's basically getting hundreds of people to do this search and to click on one certain search result to bump it up on the search results page. And there's a lot of people doing this. Here's another one that's a little more complex. This one is basically, first you search for this guy's name, Burton Katz. Then after that, you do a search for Burton Katz LinkedIn, okay? And what this is telling Google is when someone searches for Burton Katz, what they're actually looking for is Burton Katz LinkedIn. So Google will see over and over people typing in first Burton Katz, and then immediately after on the same page typing in Burton Katz LinkedIn. And that tells Google, hey, when people are searching for Burton Katz, what they're actually looking for is his LinkedIn page. So we should be showing his LinkedIn page high up in the search results page. And you can see here what they've enabled this to do is get his LinkedIn page number 3 in the search results, because Google's now associating Burton Katz with Burton Katz LinkedIn. So there's all kinds of different ways that people are using this, manipulating user data. And if you go through the jobs, the available jobs on MicroWorkers, you're going to see all kinds of cutting edge stuff going on, manipulating search results through manipulating user behavior. So this is really a cutting edge type of thing that people are doing. I encourage you guys to experiment. That was just a freebie. I want to show you all those different, you can learn a lot by looking at what other people are doing. So here is a simple setup that I use. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. What we do is, once you have a MicroWorkers account set up, you are going to click on this. Let me just show you this here. Cover up my campaigns here. This is what it's going to look like when you log in and you click on this red My Campaigns button. And then basically you're going to click here, Start a New Basic Campaign. And when you click on that, it's going to give you the options for setting up a campaign. Now this right here is where you want to um, this is where you want to be careful of your location. All right, so you can choose your location, and what I would encourage you to do is stick only to the locations. You can do a guess on it if you want. I mean, it should be pretty clear. You know if the main target market doing these searches is in the USA, or what country they're in, or if it's you're doing it from Europe or somewhere else, or maybe it's a Western, a general Western audience. You choose a location. One way that you could actually tell the location is by doing some research in Google Trends. And if you just search Google for Google Trends, and then you can take a look at, let's try my name. You're probably going to get the Broadway actor because there's a Broadway actor that's under my name. But in general, if you do a search for the keyword phrase in Google Trends and you scroll down, you'll be able to see the general regional interest. So you'd want, say if I was doing this for my own name, I'd want to keep all my clicks within the US. You can see this name is hardly searched anywhere else in the world other than the US. Now you might find that it's, in a few different countries, or, and if it's mainly US, you could probably get away with US and Canada. But you don't want to have searches coming from all over the continent of Africa if this, in the past, this has been searched mainly in the USA. And this is because, like I showed you in the patent, geography is one of the things Google's looking for when they're looking for people that are manipulating these search results. So make sure that you check that out. Whatever the keyword phrase is, just go to Google Trends and do some searches there. Type it into the top, google.com/trends, and make sure you've got your geography right. So once you've picked, let me get back here, once you've picked your geography, and I'm just gonna, for this example, I'm just gonna do US and Canada. Then you're going to click on this search, click, and engage. The nice thing that I like about MicroWorkers is that they actually have a campaign category for searching and clicking on listings. You can see we're not going to get banned for these types of tasks. They actually are encouraging this by giving you an auto category that allows you to have people search and click. This task takes less than 3 minutes. That's what I recommend you leave it like that. Available positions, 30, but you're going to want to go around 500 probably. If you're dealing with someone's name or a company name that gets, several hundred, say 50 to several hundred clicks per month, you're going to want to do at least 500 positions. So you need 500 workers, and then the worker will earn 15 cents. See, it might not let me go down to 10. Let me see. Nope, it allowed me going out to 10. So you can go down. I don't believe you can go down to 10. Let me see here. I mean, below 10. Let me see if it'll. Well, it might allow you. So you're going to have to test this out. You might not get anybody to do this for less than 10 cents or so, but your campaign cost goes down a lot. It might be worth giving it a shot. The speed, I usually started out at between 500 and 1,000. If you do 1,000, you're going to get just massive numbers of clicks in the first few days. Then it's going to taper off, it seems to still work okay at this point. But if you keep it around 500, that'll even out the clicks a little bit more. So that's basically the speed at which the MicroWorkers system will allow you to will allow your task to be shown. Does that make sense? So they'll sort of space out the amount of time that your task is shown, and which will spread out how long it takes for that task to be done. Anyway, that's pretty self-explanatory. So, and let me show you the exact text you can use. No, that's not a speed in seconds. That is, it's their own. It's kind of like their own scale of speed. 1000 is the fastest, 1 is the slowest. So, you can change this actually in real time once you set your tasks up. And you can have it go up and down. If the tasks are being assigned out too fast, you can move your numbers down. So you start at 1000, you taper it off to try to slow it down. You can do it like that, but it's not speed in seconds. It's their own scale. And I found that if you do 1000, you're going to get within the first 24 hours, you're going to get like a couple of hundred clicks. But if you do 500, 250, something like that, that slows it down a little bit. Okay, so here is the text that I use. And Mike, you can totally use your own name. It's not a big deal. They hide your identity, so you don't have to try to hide at all with micro workers. They seem to be totally fine with these types of tasks. So, all right. So here's what you do. I would encourage you to use this exact text, okay? And you can fill it in with your own stuff, but just keyword phrase search then visit. I'm just telling people that's what I want them to do. You might want to have your own little identifier in here because this is the title. If you have a lot of these going, they start to get really confusing as far as which one is which. So you might want to do a little identifier for yourself so you can tell when you have a list of like 15 or 20 of these campaigns going, you want to identify it by the title. But this is also what the workers see when they're picking which task to do. Number one, search Google for your keyword phrase, and you're going to put in, your name or your client's name or your client's business name, whatever is the problematic search phrase. I add this in always, and this is just an example of what you do. So this is the example from my aunt when her lawsuit was on a in.gov, Indiana.gov page, and so I didn't want them to click on that. I also didn't want them to click on YouTube because I had already ranked a YouTube video on the first page for that. And if I let them click on anything, if I let the worker click on anything, they're naturally going to click on the easiest thing to click, which is going to be the YouTube. So if you've got site links or you've got micro data set up so there's all sorts of stars and stuff showing up, you might want to tell them not to click on these pages because those pages, they'll even mistakenly click on it. Even if you don't pay them, you get to review each task and decide whether you want to pay them or not. But even if you don't pay them, they've still already done it. So it can really skew the results if they're not following the directions carefully. So I want to make this explicit. So if there's any pages you don't want them to click on, make sure that you include that in the directions. And then I have here on the first page of results, find /CMA, Wikipedia, Facebook, or Manta. And those were I believe there were 4 or 5 of the pages that were below the bad result I was trying to bury. So you'd insert your own domains here. Whatever domains are there, you want them to actually go on the first page and look for those domains on the first page. And then I just have them say which is most interesting to you. Click on either /CMA, Wikipedia, Facebook, or Manta. And the most interesting to you helps to just throw a human element in there. It also helps there to be some continuity there because Google already has a record of which of these pages, these are the pages I'm trying to bump up to bury the bad one. Which of these pages is most interesting to users? Google already has a record of that. And so if I let the user choose, then the spread of clicks is going to match somewhat the spread of clicks that have already been happening historically. So it helps it to look a little more natural if you add a human, sort of a human factor there. But that way, the users are searching and they're clicking only on these specific 4 domain names in the search results. And those are the ones that I want to bump up. And then what I ask for, I'm going to give you some examples of some more complex requirements of proof that people use, but what I ask for is um, just to copy and paste a line of text from the page they clicked on. So they're going to click on one of these four, and then they're just going to copy and paste a line of text from there. That way I can make sure that they actually clicked and did something. But I would keep this pretty simple. I mean, really, this is not rocket science for you to be able to tell if they clicked or not. And for the most part, this tends to work. Okay. And then I just leave all this the same. They don't have to upload any files. They don't have to upload anything as proof. And then I give myself 7 days to rate submitted tasks. You know, I don't think this really matters. It's possible that if you make your days to submit tasks shorter, that more people will do your tasks because they get their money faster. And then I have here, do not verify or rate. And this is just to keep it simple. You know, I'm going to show you some more complicated ways to do this, but if you really want to keep it simple, keep it at do not verify or rate. There's some automated ways that you can have it be verified and stuff within the microworkers system. I'm not going to cover all that here. If you really want to get high tech with it, you can look into generating a V code on your website. There's a lot of ways you can automate ratings and stuff like that of your tasks. But the way you do this here, it's so simple. I mean, you just scroll down, you can select every single task all at once and approve every single one. I just do a quick scan. It's really fast, so it's not that hard, but you can automate it a little more if you're doing this on a large scale. And that's basically it. That's how we do it. And again, the number of workers is going to depend on how many searches this phrase normally gets. And I'm doing, in general, I'm doing around 500 for a search phrase that's getting, 50 to a couple of hundred searches per month. I'm using 500 workers. At times, though, I've had to bump it up more depending on how fast the clicks are going in. So if your campaign is going slow and you really want to get all these clicks in 2 weeks, because remember, the algorithm is going to refresh every 2 to 3 weeks. So you really want to get all the clicks delivered. So if the clicks are coming in too slow, you're going to need to do some creative ways to get more clicks. And a couple of ways you can do that is you can create more tasks. So just create a duplicate task, all right? And what you're going to get then is the same workers that already did your task before are going to do it a second time, which probably isn't that big a deal. If the same workers did the exact same task 6, 7, 8, 10 times, that's when it's going to start to be obvious to Google that these are fake clicks. But if it's a couple of times, that's not a big deal. But that's one way you can get more. You can also do smaller tasks where you're expanding your geography, and you want to be careful because you don't want too many clicks coming from other areas other than the main. But there will be, every search result has clicks coming from some other types of areas, some stray clicks and stuff like that. So you can usually you could probably get away with adding some, other countries that are near the ones that you're mainly targeting. That's another way you can get more clicks if your clicks are coming in slow. And you can also do another campaign and just pay more. I mean, if you pay more, you're going to get more clicks. If you do pay less, your clicks are going to come in slower. You're going to have to experiment with this. In general, I usually pay, again, if you're doing client work, you can just include this as part of what you're billing. But, paying 20 cents US dollars is going to get you a good amount of clicks. 30, 40 cents, if you can afford it, is going to get you even more. You're going to do a lot better with that. Another thing you can do, which I'm going to show you, is get multiple clicks from one job. Let me show you this one. So this is an example of getting more clicks. If you have multiple clients, you can see this person they're paying 18 cents for every click, and they're doing, if you scroll in here, they're hiding the search phrase, so you can't see what the phrase is until you actually go in through the bit URL. But if you look, then this is making sure that you get the exact phrase right. And this is actually reputation management. You can see this guy, I believe, was involved some kind of, maybe it was a different guy. I think this guy was involved in some kind of a scandal, so they're trying to bump it off page 1. I don't see it here, but maybe that was a different guy. But anyway, but what they have here is you do one search and then you click on the results, and then to get paid, you have to go and do 2 more. This is all for 18 cents. They're getting 3 searches, 3 different search phrases out of 1 microworker's task. And people are doing it. You can see, here we go. Oh, he's trying to get associated with the Bill Gates Foundation. That's what that was. I remember that now. So you just have to change your category here to search and click 3 times. See that? Instead of click 1 time, you're telling people you're going to search and click 3 times. But you can see that people are doing this. I mean, 92 out of 120 people have already done this, and they've gotten triple the clicks from 1 task. That's another way you can get your it's another way you can get your clicks increased a little bit if the clicks are coming in too slow, if you're not reaching your goal of getting them all delivered in 2 weeks. Okay, and then we're going to take questions in just a sec, but let me just show you a couple more things. This allows you to edit. What this person is doing is allows you to edit your instructions mid-job. So it's one thing about microworkers. Once you put a task in there, you get it all set up and everything, and they allocate funds to that task. So if you do like 1,000 clicks, you need 1,000 clicks worth of funds in your account, and they take all those funds out of your account basically at that point. So it can be a pain if your task is not working out well and you're kind of stuck. You can't edit it midstream. So you basically have to wait for all 830 clicks to come in before you can end that task. You've committed to pay for those 830 clicks as soon as you click submit. But what this person does is they send everybody to an external page where the instructions are, and this allows them to edit the instructions mid-task. So they could basically have one task, with like 10,000 clicks to it or whatever, and they can just edit the instructions as they go, depending on where they need to be sending their clicks. Here's someone that is focusing, I believe, this is focusing on a higher search volume phrase, and so they're actually individually setting up tasks for this guy. This was the guy that was involved in some sort of a scandal with supposedly supporting terrorist organizations or something like that. And so what they did is they set up individual tasks for each link. So say you've got 4 links you're trying to bump up, 1 link you're trying to bump down. For each of those 4 links you're trying to bump up, you do an individual task. So this task doesn't let you choose. You have to click on the Wikipedia results. And what they're doing is they're trying to bump a bad article down involving this guy, and they have separate tasks for each. So what they're doing is, you can see there, they're going for 400 clicks just on the Wikipedia page alone, and they have separate tasks for all the other pages as well until they can get the search volume they need to bump that up. And it's possible that that's just because this guy's name is a higher search volume phrase. Let me actually see here. See if I can. Or maybe it's a scandal. I don't know. It could be the scandal, or it could be his company name. I'm not sure. Yeah, the company name. So here, let me show you. So if you go into Google Trends, you can see the company name, Edible Arrangements, has massive numbers of searches, increasing over time. And so they're going to need a lot of clicks to get this guy, to cover this guy's bad results page and to bump that down. You can also be proactive. If you have a client or your own name, you can be proactive. This company here is not really having any problems if you look, but what they've done is they've put a Dropbox image here. The image tells you what to search, so I'll show you. So if you go in, this gives you, this is the search phrase, that they want you to search. for. And if you do a search for that phrase, what they want you to do is click through and then click on some specific Yelp results. And what they're trying to do, I'll show you from the phrase, look here. Look for one of the reviews by Spencer B, Heather U, or Lydia F. Click on their pictures to answer the proof questions. So what they're doing is any Google Analytics that Yelp has is going to report back to Google that someone searches for the dentist and then is most interested in these Yelp reviews. And so what they're doing is they're being proactive there, and they're also showing Yelp that these are the most important Yelp reviews. For anybody coming from Google, these are the most important Yelp reviews. There's a lot that they're doing there with that, but they're being proactive. There's really not a lot of bad reviews for this business, but they're making sure that the best ones are the ones getting clicked on, both in the Yelp universe on Yelp's site itself and in the Google search results. And so you can be proactive with your reputation as well, instead of waiting for a problem to happen. These folks are being proactive. It's either the company or a consultant that's working for them. All right, so that's the basic of the technique. We can take some questions, and let me bring up. I'm going to put these on a chat screen. Aubrey's going to chat them to me. That way I don't have to try to read through the chatter there. But Aubrey, you can go ahead and type the first question. What is the average time it takes to remove negative results? Average time it takes to remove negative results, in my experience, is 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4. Like I said, that's if you get it right. So if you get the right number of clicks all coming in within a few weeks, that is when the algorithm seems like it refreshes. Now, I have not heard that from Google, so don't take this isn't like I've got an inside scoop. This is just what I've observed. It seems like every 2 to 3 weeks it refreshes, and so that's how long it takes. Now, it's possible I've had times where I sent a bunch of clicks, but I didn't reach the threshold necessary, so my bad result only bumped down 2 or 3 spots. So in that case, I have to wait another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and send even more clicks to get that result down. But in general, if you're dealing with somebody's name or a company name that doesn't get a ton of search volume, it seems like it should be able to be done within a few weeks. Again, that's not like a promise. Don't take that as a promise. Yes, go ahead and use your own name to sign up for microworkers. You don't have to hide here. Again, if you go into microworkers, I've actually gone in and tried to figure out who some of these people are, but it's totally hidden. Like if you go in, let's just go in here. This is just like, see, employer member 82961. If you click in, there's really no identifiable information here at all about this person except for the country that they're in. So you really don't have to worry. It's not like freelancer.com or Elance where there's information about the person. It's totally meant to be anonymous. Any way to invite previous microworkers for future jobs in order to hide my description or techniques, or at least delete? You can you can do things like this. You can create jobs in groups. So you can see here's some hire groups. You can create like groups, and then you can specify what type of worker you want. Those are some of the ways that you can do that. I don't know of a way to invite specific workers though. Unless I've missed that, I don't think there's a way to invite a specific worker. So your task though, you don't have to worry. I know you're worried because I'm basically like, outing all these people's stuff here. It was the only way I could think of to really show the possibilities and to show you guys what people are actually doing. But once you get all your clicks, the job actually stops showing. It just shows like this job has been completed and there's no details there. So there's no archive of the completed jobs. You can also pause the job. If you pause an existing job that you have, it won't show any details anymore. So those are some of the things you can do if you're worried about getting found out or what you're doing getting discovered. You can also, like I showed you earlier, if you put all the instructions on a page, like say, register a domain that you're using only for this, and then put the instructions on a separate page, you can just delete that page, and then there's really no way to trace back what you were actually doing. So those are some ways that you can hide your description and your techniques. What is the best way to find out how many clicks a result is getting? Yeah, I showed you that. The best way really is to, well, first of all, oh no, I didn't talk about this. I talked about using Google Trends to find out the geography, but then the best way is just to go to the keyword planner, and it'll give you search results. Just do a search for a Google Keyword Planner, and your first result there will be AdWords Keyword Planner, and you can go in there and you can totally just see how many searches. It requires an AdWords account, but you don't have to actually put any money in. You just have to sign up for an AdWords account in order to use the tool and log into that AdWords account. That'll let you know, in general, at least the estimate that Google's giving you of how many searches that a result is getting, at least in the past. And oh, one other thing I wanted to say, this is keyword specific. So if you've got a bad article showing up for one version of your company name, you'll be able to knock that down for that phrase only. And then you're going to have to do it again if people are also searching for, like, say, the INC version of the phrase, or if the person's name is misspelled a couple ways, you're gonna have to do that for each one. So if you're quoting it for a client, you really need to take that into account and really get from them which phrases exactly do you want me to bump this down for, because at least for CTR, this is a keyword specific technique. So if you bump it down for one keyword, it's not necessarily going to go down for the other keyword. So you want to do some keyword research and find out what are people actually searching for, and then focusing on those keywords that actually have search volume to to focus on for the technique, instead of wasting your money on phrases that no one's searching for. Google won't be bothered by the bit.ly, won't they know it's not an organic search? Yeah, I was just showing you an example. You might want to do your own redirect and not use bit.ly. The thing that's advantageous about that is then you make sure that people actually type it in correctly and don't type in some other garbled version of the phrase. And I know that's what they were trying to do. Yeah, you're right, though. I mean, Google's going to know that that's a redirect from bit.ly, and that's going to be a big footprint. So there's other ways, though, that I showed you that people are doing that. For instance, this, you can see people that they have this here phrase, and then you can just type it right next to it or copy and paste it. And then when you click this search button, the search button goes to Google and does the search. But I have seen, now in the past, I haven't bothered with any of this. I've just said, type this into Google, and it worked great. So I haven't had too many problems. It depends on how long of the phrase it is and how hard it is to spell. But to me, if there's some outliers and some weird misspellings happening, to me it all makes it look more natural. So I kind of like that. I don't mind paying for that. But if you're really trying to get it exactly right, you might want to do something like this, like you see here, where you're making sure that they type it exactly right, or send it through some other redirect that that will keep it from all being from bit.ly. You could also have something like this where you pre-populate the These are all more technical things that if you're a webmaster or you're a web designer, a web developer, you'd be able to do. But pre-populating the fields to be exactly what you want and then click search, those are some ways you can do the same thing without producing that bit.ly footprint. Let's assume the bad page is now on the last on the first page. Do we go to the second page and start clicking on the top results to get them up? Exactly. So if you're on the bottom of page 1, in your instructions, you want to tell people, do the search, go to page 2, click on, the top, anything in the top 4 of page 2. Exactly. Do you have them click on another link on the page they land on to avoid a quick bounce? Yes, you can do that too. I have not done that personally, but I have seen others that are doing reputation management with this say tell people to click around. Um, for me, um, yeah, the thing is, if you use my instructions that I have here, you're telling them, let me get back to it. Where is it? I lost it in here. You're telling them to do some things after they get to the page. They have to copy and paste a line of the text. Then they have to come back to micro workers. So I'm assuming we're dealing with people that have multiple tabs open, and you're going to get, they're going to leave that other tab open. They're going to go back to their micro workers tab and paste in the text that you told them to paste in. So I think that's why it's worked for me without requiring them to click around. But you can totally do that too. I mean, if you want to play it safe, you can tell them to click on 3 pages, then copy and paste the text from the 3rd page they click on that site, and that'll be even stronger. But I haven't found, I don't know if, it probably depends on how much analytics Google has going, how much tracking they're doing for that specific search result page. But I haven't had a problem with this. If you really want to go above and beyond, you could totally do that, though. Yeah, this is a similar question. If you ask a micro worker to click on a specific result, would it be better to ask them to go to a page or two deeper in the site? Would this help or make no difference? Again, I think it might help. I haven't done that. Again, I tend to do things, just try to get away with doing it as simple as I can to see if it works. It does seem to work really well without requiring this. But again, they're used to doing this type of thing. So adding an additional step is not going to hurt you at all. If you want to play it safe, I would do it. Do you need to do any calculations in terms of volume of clicks necessary to move a result depending on the search phrase, or do you always use the numbers you mentioned? So I have mainly done this on search phrases that get under 200 searches per month. So that's why I've picked 500. I've found a lot of reputation management type situations are dealing with phrases that they're not big money phrases, but they are big reputation phrases. So since they're not big money phrases, they're not getting that many clicks. So I don't really know the formula, the calculation. Say if you've got 1,000 clicks, how many would you need to make a difference there? How many clicks would you need to generate? I have not done any calculations. In general, for most phrases, I've noticed 500 seems to do really well. But again, if you've got a high volume search phrase, it's going to take more than 500. What's the best way to go about getting clients that need this type of service? So if you really want to know, I talked about it in a YouTube video. That gives you sort of a formula of how to do this, and you can do this with where is it? Where is it? I'm in my account. Um, anyway, I'll just tell you. Oh no, I know it's on my Facebook page. That's why. Silly. Um, there's a Facebook video that I put out, and it gives you a sort of a step-by-step that you can use. And I'll send this link out to everybody. Now, I have on this YouTube video, I mean this Facebook video, I have here, send this out to everybody. Specifically related to court websites, but you can do this with any site. I mean, you can do this with any site that has bad pages on page 1, and you basically go and you tell them, hey, I found this bad result when I search for your name. I can remove this for you. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you're just sending them private, personalized messages. You can even send them a screenshot of the results page so they can see how bad it really is. And that would be, I would just go with people that that already have the problem. You can also go on Elance and Odesk and freelancer.com and find people actually searching to fix their reputations as well. So those are two ways you can do that. What about different keyword combinations? If I'm a good searcher, I may add in their city, their initial, etc. Yeah, and that's why I would mainly focus on the ones that have search volume. I know it's possible there's always going to be somebody that does a search, accidentally switching 2 letters in their name or adding an INC to the business name or something. But I would just go with the ones that actually have historical searches being done when you look at the keyword planner tool. What is the average cost in clicks per campaign to remove bad results? So you can see here, I'll just do the calculation for you right here. If you need 500 workers and you're willing to pay 20 cents, you can just click the recalculate button. You can see how much is that going to cost me, 108 bucks. If you go down to 15 cents, you can go to 81 bucks. If you go down to 10 cents, you can, and so on. You can get it all the way down to 50 bucks. You're probably not going to get many people to do it lower than that. I haven't even tested that, but I would, if you're quoting this to a client, I would quote it based on a high number. So say 300 clicks at 30 cents at 162 bucks. Now that's a lot higher than I would do if I was doing it for my own name, but I would quote it based on that cost being figured into the quote. Just so in case you have to pay more, you're trying to get more clicks and you have to pay more and stuff like that, that you've got your cost covered. But it's, you could totally do it for 20 cents. People will totally do this task for 20 cents, and that's 100 bucks. I've done it for 15 cents as well, which gets your cost down to 80 bucks. And a lot of times before you even hit the 500, you've already got the thing bumped down where you want it. So how does this work for sites for ripoff report? I have actually not gotten this to work for ripoff report, and that's why I was actually emailing folks that. I believe I put it in one of my broadcast emails, because now I'm not sure if ripoff report just has such a site-wide high click-through. I've gotten ripoff report to bump down 3 or 4 positions, but to get it all the way off the page, I haven't been able to do that. It's possible that you just need multiple months of doing this to get that ripoff report to go down. But these ripoff report pages are they draw people's eye and they get such a high click-through that, sometimes they can take a lot. But I'm going to give you some other strategies for that in the next section. So I'm going to teach some other strategies after this. What's an example of using these workers to remove something like a mugshot? What would you tell them to click on? I have an unlimited supply of mugshot people. I'm going to cover an images strategy, but I have not tested this with images. So for instance, if you do a search like for my name, you're going to get the Broadway actor, but you can see that his name is, I mean, his photo is all over the place. And if, say, one of these photos was bad and you were trying to get that to be removed, I haven't tested this out for removing images. I've mainly just tested out for removing actual bad pages from page one. It's possible that it will work. You'd have to test it out, but I haven't done that personally. There's some other strategies, though, for images that I'm going to show you in the next section. What's the best strategy if there are 6 to 7 bad posts on page one? Yeah, this is tough. This is really tough, and that's why I specifically wanted to say, I specifically had emailed people and said, you know, if you've got really bad, really bad page, you know, where you've got like tons of bad press, 6, 7, 8, like the whole front page is filled with bad press. I haven't tested it on that type of a situation. You know, I've mainly done it where there's 1 or 2 bad results that you're trying to bump down. So you're going to need to do a combination. I'm sure you're going to need to get, you're going to need to do more traditional reputation management where you're bumping good stuff up through backlinks and stuff like that. And then once you should be able to get a lot of those to drop off doing traditional reputation management, and then maybe your outliers that are still stuck there and you can't get them to move, then you would add some click-through stuff to try to get that down as well. That's what I would recommend, but I'm going to give you some more strategies here that I think will help you with that kind of a situation. Should we try to raise only 4 sites at a time? No, you can raise more than 4. That was just an example, a specific example, you know, of a situation where there were 4, but you can do more than 4. You don't have to limit it to that. Are we running micro worker campaign and do it again a week or 2 later? No. Now what I've found is once you get this bad result to drop off of page 1, then it takes care of it. The problem takes care of itself because most people aren't going to click to page 2. And so if they click to page 2, you better believe they're probably going to click on the controversial link. But most people aren't going to. And so what happens then is your click-through rate of all the pages on page 1 continues to increase, and the click-through rate of the bad page that you pushed off continues to stay low because it's on page 2. And so really, you know, this could stay, once you get it bumped off, it could stay for like a year off of page 2, you know, and so you really don't have to do it a week or 2 later, but I have found where it starts to creep back up, you know, up to page 1, say that you see it hit the bottom of page 1 for some reason, and then you can just do this technique over again. But it really, you know, people don't click to page 2. So that click-through rate of that page 2 result is going to stay low, and that's the advantage of this type of a technique. What do you typically charge for this service? What do you get paid after you deliver results? Do you collect half to start and half after? Your advice. This is all going to depend on the client, okay? And I know this is it's going to look like I'm sidestepping, but if you've got a high money client, you know, there's people that you're going to be able to do this very easily for, where hardly anyone searches for their name. But when they search for their name, they see something they don't like, and they're willing to pay a lot for it, you know. But I wouldn't go lower. Let's just say I wouldn't go lower than $500. But you know, $1,000, $1,500 for this type of thing is not out of the ordinary, and I wouldn't hesitate if it's a higher profile client to charge multiple thousands for this, especially if you're guaranteeing results. I like to collect half to start. If you're really trying to be bold though and really trying to get this client, you can tell them, hey, you know, you won't have to pay a thing if I don't deliver the results. And that way, you know, say you spend $100 on the clicks, and if it, you know, say it doesn't work for some reason, well, you're only out $100. It's likely that it's actually going to work, but it's a low risk for you. So it really all depends on your business. I mean, I'm Personally, I would guarantee the results. I feel pretty confident about this. Um, but you know, if you don't want to, maybe you could just collect enough to pay for the clicks if you don't really have money to blow on testing out a client's phrase. But yeah, I would probably just guarantee it myself and just say, hey, you don't even have to pay if I don't do it successfully. It's pretty concrete if you've done it or not. If the monthly search volume was 1,300, would 2 campaigns at 500 click from the microworkers be good? Or would it be better to totally surpass the monthly search volume? Yeah, you want to totally surpass the monthly search volume. If you've got a monthly search volume of like 1,300, okay, you probably want to do the technique like I showed you. Let me get to it. Where is it? For this guy, where they did, or no, it wasn't this one. It was, I can't find it now, but it was where they individualized each page. So you pick, say, your 5 pages that you're trying to bump off, and you do one task for each page, getting people to click on that specific one. You're going to get the most clicks that way. You figure if someone searches 50 times, if a keyword phrase is searched 50 times, I was sending like 500 clicks to it, or 100 times I was sending like 500 clicks to that phrase. So you figure I'm doing like 4 or 5 times the clicks. So I would definitely do more than 500 if you've got 1,300 search volume there. Can you share a list of sites categorized like easy to remove, moderate, difficult, and difficult to remove that help us judge what to quote to each client? Okay, difficult to remove. Rip-off report, complaints board. All right, or not complaints board, I'm sorry, complaints.com. Those two are going to be hard. Easier to remove are like the government sites, like archived court cases, blogger blogs, like say for instance, like if a blog post of a relatively unknown blogger is showing up when you search for a phrase, or like a review site that doesn't get a lot of traffic, these types of things are going to be easier to remove. You know, unknown like podunk town news sites, stuff like that, are going to be a lot easier to remove than like your massive empire type site, or a site that really gets a massive number of clicks because they have so much controversial stuff. You know, they always have giant click-through rates and stuff. Okay, Aubrey's saying someone's requesting a bathroom break. I would take your bathroom break now during the Q&A. Just unless you have a specific question, I would take a bathroom break now because we're going to jump right into another technique as soon as I get through these questions. Okay, Salty Droid seems big. Oh, can you share an email template to approach clients? Sorry, I was going to jump into Anthony's question there, but can you share an email template to approach clients? Yeah, this isn't, it's sort of beyond the scope of this course. I would make it really simple though. Let me just say, I would just say, hey, I noticed when I search for your name, this bad site shows up. Here's a screenshot. I do this as part of my business, removing this stuff. I guarantee I can remove this for you, you know, email me back. I would do something really simple like that. Just guarantee your results, show your confidence, show them how bad it is, show them that you can fix it for them. EDU or even Salty Droid. Okay, EDU I would say is going to be similar to a .gov site because EDUs aren't giant click-through rate sites. They're not sites that are constantly, everyone's clicking on them because they're really controversial. In fact, their click-through rates are probably pretty low. Salty Droid, I haven't tested on Salty Droid, but Salty Droid seems like a really big site for internet marketers because it's like, wow, my name's on there. But really, in the grand scheme of things, Salty Droid probably gets a lot less play than, say, a Ripoff Reports. It's a lot smaller subsection of the world than Ripoff Reports. So I would definitely try this out with Salty Droid or with the EDU. Can this be used against legit sites to remove them from ranks? Negative SEO. Yes, it can. That wasn't an application that I was specifically covering, but And again, I don't really do negative SEO. I just feel like it starts a battle that I don't want to fight, but it can be used for this. Yeah. Now remember your search volume though. If you're talking about like a big money phrase with a lot of searches, you're going to run into problems there trying to get enough searches to make a difference. Okay, I'm going to jump into what kind of niches where they'll be. Not sure what that question is. What kind of niches will there be? Aubrey, maybe you could just cover that. I'm going to jump into the next section, and Aubrey, maybe you could clarify that question with James, and then we could get it at the end of the next section. Okay, I'm going to jump into the next section just because we're running out of time here a little bit. Secondary solutions is DMCA, which is a Digital Copyright Act that is a relatively newer law on the legal scene, but it is a way that you can remove search results. Okay, now I wanted to say I'm not an attorney, so this isn't legal advice. All right, but it is something that can work even if you don't have a legitimate copyright complaint. So basically what this is a way that you can tell Google, hey, there's copyrighted content in your search results that they're using illegally, and I want you to take it down. And actually, there's been news articles lately about how many people have been posting DMCA requests and how Google will remove these, or web hosts, registrars will remove these things, even if they're not founded very solidly. So it's like not that solid of a copyright complaint. But a lot of times a registrar, a web host, website owner just won't want to deal with the hassle of a legal battle, and they'll just remove it for you. Okay. Now, this is a strategy that can work as well to help you to generate a DMCA issue. Okay. If a page allows user-generated content, upload copyrighted content to the page. So for instance, a ripoff reports page allows you to post information on it. Let me just go to a ripoff reports page so I can show you. Okay, here, this is just a silly example, but here's a ripoff reports page about Securitas, security services. And if you scroll down to the bottom, I uploaded this photo of the front of the building. Now, I went under the name Bill Buford. I didn't go under my own name, which is what you'd want to do. But here it is. This is just a photo of the building, okay? The front of the building. Now, that's not really a copyrighted photo, so that's not an issue there. But that's an example of what you could do to put the front of the building, or I mean put a copyrighted photo or some sort of copyrighted content, even if it's the logo or something like that, on the page. And then once it's approved, then you're going to complain to Google about the copyright violation to get that page taken. Now, this legally, Google doesn't have to remove this, because in general, DMCA is you're protected if a user has posted copyrighted content on your site and you haven't done it yourself. You're protected under DMCA a lot of times. So Google doesn't have to, or your web host, the web host doesn't have to remove it. But if it's like a forum or something like that, and it's a small time web host, and you request this, they might just not want to deal with it, even though theoretically they wouldn't have to do it. It might not stand up in court, but you can still request that it be removed. So you're basically creating a copyright problem under a different name. You might want to do this through a proxy, or an anonymous proxy, or a VPN or something like that, so your IP address isn't tracked. This is sort of a black hat way to do it, but you're actually generating a copyright complaint. So that's one way you can do it. You can download DMCA templates. All right. I'm not going to show you a DMCA letter. Almost all the template, if you just do a search for DMCA template, almost all the templates say the exact same thing, and there's a few requirements for a DMCA template. You're going to do better if you send a snail mail to, like a certified mail or something like that, either on behalf of your client or on behalf of yourself, as well as an email, just to show that you're serious. If you're sending it to a web host, because remember, web hosts and registrars, they're just middlemen. They're just your registrar is making like $9, $15 a year on that site. They don't want to be involved in a big copyright legal issue. Web hosts, the same thing. They might be making $20 a month tops on that site, probably less. And so a lot of times they will, rather than really look into it and trying to fight back, they will just remove the content. Another thing you can do is, if you want to look into the legalities of this stuff and actually have a lawyer to write the letter, prepaid legal is an awesome option. It's $50 a month, especially if you are an at-home business. If you've got a home office and your business is run out of your house, it's $50 a month, and they will send letters for you from a lawyer. One per month is allowed. They do a lot of other things too, like checking contracts and just answering legal questions. I love prepaid legal. I've been a member for a long time. Bigger legal issues, I've had to hire lawyers, but for the small time stuff where I don't want to be paying a lawyer $300 just to get on the phone with them, prepaid legal is awesome. So that's an option for, if you really want to do this, go a legal route. Here's some other legal solutions similar to DMCA. One is for libel, okay, and this is only if the page in question is inaccurate, and that can be proven that the information is not factual. In that case, if that information that they've posted would not be able to be proven, it wouldn't hold up in court, you can contact the web host or the registrar and say that using, and then after they've removed it, you use the Google remove content form, which I'm going to show you. I'll actually send this out to everybody. Put this in a new tab here. I'm going to send this to everybody. Now this is a great form, because actually Google, the way Google has set it up is it's like a wizard to lead you through removing content from their site, and they'll actually automatically lead you through the steps you need to identify what type of content it is, what type of complaint. Is it DMCA? Is it libel? Is it slander? Is it is it malicious? What is it? And then what are the legalities surrounding that? This is a great little wizard that they have set up. So I encourage you to even just page through it just to look and see what your options are, for different types of schemes. Start with web search and then go through, and you can see all the different options. It's a great option to sort of clarify what types of content can be removed and for what reasons, because I know the people on here, they have all types of different situations, all types of different clients, or it might be for your own self. And there's a lot of different legal routes you can take depending on the specific situation. Images is similar, okay? You can, again, you can get images removed from Google, all right? But first, they have to be removed from the web host, which a lot of times is easier than you think. Getting an image removed from a web host, especially if it's not a big-time web host, isn't that hard. They don't want a hassle. And then after the web host has removed it, then you use this image removal form. Let me send this out to everybody, to get that image removed off of Google. But Google will only remove it if, one, if it's an image of your signature, or two, if it's already been removed from the web host. Okay. Google is likely to remove pages containing confidential info like a passport, driver's license number, government ID number, or a signature, or pornographic pages falsely associated with you. So in these cases, if you or your client have a situation like this, where your passport, driver's license number, government ID number, a digital image of your signature, pornographic images falsely associated with you, or even if your business is on a pornographic website and you don't want it to be, like if your business is listed there or something, Google is likely to remove that stuff, even if the web host refuses to remove it. So if that's your situation, you are in luck. And again, all you do is go through that remove content form that I showed you earlier, and that will and go through the wizard and get to the place where they ask you, is it a passport, driver's license number, government ID number, or signature? And click yes, and they'll lead you through the steps for how to get that removed. Okay, and this is getting more into negative SEO type stuff, but reporting terms of service violations unrelated to you to the web host. So if the site has anything on there that violates the terms of service. So like any web host, say like HostGator, has a terms of service. And if you click on that, you can read their acceptable use, their copyright infringement policies, all these types of things. And a lot of times, even if a website is not violating anything that would cause Google to remove content, a lot of times if a web host has terms of service, you can get that content removed just straight through the web host. And so that's another way that you can get it removed. And once it's removed from the web host, you can go to Google through their remove content form, and part of the thing that they ask is the content right here, a piece of content I am concerned about, has already been removed by the webmaster, but still appears among the search results. And you give them the catch of the page and they remove it. But you got to get it removed from the web host first in that case. Another thing you can do, and I'll send this, is report web spam. So if you can find, I'll send this out to everybody. If the site in question has any kind of spam going on, which is like paid links, invisible text, keyword stuffed title tags, keyword stuffing, anything, doorway pages, anything basically that we used to do, or anything, if you can prove that they've bought links, purchased links, or sold links, you can just report them to the web spam team. And this is another way you can get it removed. And this is a page, again, you're totally going to the side. The page, you want to remove it because it has bad information about you or your client, but you're getting it removed for a totally different reason. And it's a way you can sort of get around all the copyright issues and the privacy issues and the free speech issues that Google holds on to, and just get it removed for a different reason. All right. Go back to my presentation here. A lot of times a page, you'll be able to get it removed for a reason like that. All right. Any questions on what I've covered so far. Okay, what was the link to Google image remove page? Let me find it for you. Go back here. Send this out to everybody. This will show up in your chat box there. Image removal page. How do you find a website host? Website's host. That's a great question. I would just do like website host. Look up. Do a search in Google. There's a lot of free tools that'll allow you to find the web host. And I would just use one of those free tools. They're always changing, and I don't want to give you a specific site because it goes up and down, but that is how to find it. It's real clear. I mean, these free tools work great. They'll give you the name of the web host. You go right to the website, and there you are. Would it work to buy spammy links, point them to the search result, and then report them? I've never done this. Yeah, it's just getting more into the negative SEO world, which I try to stay away from, but it's possible that you could do this. I mean, I'll say it. You could buy spammy links. You want to be careful, because one thing that could backfire on you is if you buy spammy links to it, then Google doesn't remove it, because Google, it's at Google's discretion to remove the spam or not. I'm sure they get a ton of reports, so maybe they're not going to get to your site for a while or whatever. If something like that happens, you've actually then strengthened their position in the search results. Believe it or not, negative SEO only works for low authority sites. If it's a site that has any authority at all, sometimes you can actually strengthen their search results with spammy links. So that would be the one thing that could backfire. Also, if they know it's you, or they know that you're their enemy and they think, oh, probably you did it, you can get into a war here where there's people are sending spammy links back and forth. You just want to be careful there. But again, it could work. I've never done this myself because I'm not into negative SEO, but it could work. How do you prove that someone has bought or sold links to their site? Yeah, you would have to, I mean, if it's a site that clearly says that they sell links, that would be one way. A lot of times these sites don't really hide it that well. Like text link brokers, it's a public site. You can easily go in and find which sites are selling links on text link brokers. Get screenshots of places where you could buy a link from that site, and stuff like that. That's the most obvious way. Other ways you can do it is you can pretty much tell if it's a purchased link. I mean, it'll be a link on the side, or it'll be a site-wide link, or it'll be the same exact link on a whole bunch of sites that are on like a blog network. These type of things, Google already knows these are purchased links, so they'll be able to tell. But it's best if you can take screenshots. If you could actually go and try to buy a link from that site and show a screenshot to Google of how you can buy links from that site, that would be the best way to do that. If I do a DMCA with GoDaddy, will the owner of the site I'm trying to take down know about it? Yes, they might not know it's you, but if they ask enough questions, they will. GoDaddy will probably tell them, yeah, we received a DMCA complaint about this such and such page or about your domain. So, yeah, and that's one thing. That's why if you're getting into DMCA world really heavy, especially DMCAing an entire site, you might want to consult an attorney, because the owner can sue you back, especially if the DMCA is not valid. So that's why I love doing DMCA with Google, because with Google, you're not actually attacking the owner themselves, just Google, a third party. So it's a little safer. Again, I'm not giving legal advice here, but it's a little safer to pursue DMCA with Google. But yeah, if you're going to DMCA an entire site, you want to make sure that this is not an owner that's likely to countersue. But they could find out about it if they countersue, or they can find out about it just by asking enough questions. So yeah. What's the best way to find clients who need this service? Again, I'd point you to that Facebook video that I sent out earlier. Aubrey, maybe you could send that Facebook video to him. I think that's James. Yeah, James. Again, follow that formula in that video, but just follow it for any other type of site that could have bad stuff on it. Go look for clients. Go look for people that have bad results showing up, and then contact them to remove those results. Again, if you need a bathroom break, jump. I would do it now while we're doing our Q&A, because I have one more section to go with here. And I don't want to take too long of a break here, because I know you guys have been sitting for a long time, almost 2 hours already. So any other questions? Aubrey tells me that's the last question. A couple other things that I want to mention that is, let me find it. Other things you can do if you have a lawyer to help you are filing a complaint in small claims court. Again, I would not do this without getting some legal advice, but you can just do a search for small claims court city name. It's really inexpensive to do. It can show the web host or whoever the website that you're serious. If you actually file a complaint in small claims court, again, once you bring it to court, remember, they can countersue, and you can do that. So you want to get legal advice about it, but actually bring it to the legal system can help a lot. And then one other thing I want to tell you is, to send out to everybody, is if you're trying to remove a YouTube video, I didn't really cover that. Nobody asked about it, but let me just send this out. This is the page, and I'll send this to everybody in your chat box. That's the page to remove a YouTube video. And a lot of times YouTube will remove, if there's copyright violations on a YouTube video, and then that YouTube video is showing up on the first page, you're in good shape, because YouTube cancels accounts, deletes videos very quickly, because copyright is such a huge issue. They're really on top of it. So that's what you would do if you were dealing with a YouTube related reputation issue. What's the name of that site that shows people who have been involved in lawsuits? You can go to any state, and you want to look for the, like, let's say, Michigan Judiciary website, or California Judiciary website. That would be the phrase you would look for. Nebraska Judiciary website. That'll bring you to the court site of that specific state, and they're almost all searchable by name. You can search, again, like I showed you, search for INC Inc. That'll help bring up lawsuits that involved businesses that are likely to want to pay to get that removed. A lot of those are publicly showing up in search results everywhere. So it's a great opportunity for you to get clients. All right. Let's jump to the next section, which is, let me go back to my presentation here. these are some secondary questions, and they are SEO related. All right. So I know I said on my sales page doesn't involve linking and all that stuff. So the other solutions are not SEO related, but I wanted to give you some creative SEO solutions that you probably haven't heard before that might not take as much work as the traditional SEO solutions, like trying to backlink a Facebook page and trying to get that to outrank a bad page and stuff like that. These are some easier ways to use SEO. Okay, so the first thing is make a secondary page on the same site, but positive. Okay, and this is like fighting fire with fire. So this could be a good rip-off reports, complaints.com or complaints board type solution. It does involve SEO, so again, it's not a non-SEO solution, but Google usually only allows one page per domain on their first page of search results. There's some exceptions, obviously, like site links and stuff like that. But for the most part, Google only allows one page per domain name. So if you've got one ripoff reports page, and you can rank another ripoff reports or another, say you've got a complaints.com page or a complaints board page ranking, you can create another page on there that's positive. And again, it will say complaints board, but it'll say I love XYZ company, and you got to make sure that the title tag can be positive. For this to work, you got to make sure that the format of the site will be positive. So let's go to complaints.com and I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's go to aircraft noise, and if you right click in Firefox or in Chrome or whatever and click view page source, you can usually look at the code behind the site, and you want to look for the title tag. So you want to look for meta name title, and I'll just go title. Okay, not that, it's a different one. Title right here. Most of the time this is what Google grabs to put in the blue underlined text in a search result. So this right here, this blue underlined text that you see, Google usually grabs that from the title tag code of the website right here. So you want to make sure that you can get a positive statement about the business in that title tag. So you want to go to the page in question and look and see, where does the title tag come from? In this case, the title tag comes from the title that you give your complaint. So you want to make sure you'd make your title, if you're doing this for complaints.com, you'd make your title, I love Barron Airfield. And then you're going to backlink this page until it gets to the first page of Google instead of the existing one, and let this positive page bump the bad one off page 1. So then instead of, so if you do a search, guarantee this is going to show up. Let's see here. Oops. Put all kinds of stuff in there. Barron Airfield. Oh, look at that. It's not showing up. Let's see here. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so. Yeah, it's not even showing up. Well, just for the sake of, so I can show you. So, or maybe it was it complaints.com? Did I get the wrong thing? See, now I'm losing my brain here. So I'm not able to show you guys. Anyway, the point is, you want this blue underline text to say, I love Barron airfield. That's what you want it to say. And so you want to make sure that you can manipulate that that title tag somehow by text that you input on their page. And at complaints.com, it would work great because you just rank that page instead. Now, some variations of that are, let's say you're not able to do that, so you're not able to manipulate that title tag. Make an exact duplicate of the offending page on another authority domain. So you could buy an authority domain, like off of a site like that's selling domain names or selling websites. You could buy one that has existing authority, existing backlinks. Make an exact duplicate of this offending page on the authority domain. I'm talking about exact. So you're going to go, like in Firefox, you're going to go and you're going to save page as, and you're going to save it as an HTML document. You're going to save the exact code. You're going to duplicate that page on another authority domain that you control. And then you're going to leave that page exactly the same. So when Google sees it, it looks like an exact duplicate. But you're going to remove any mention of your name or your client's name or your client's business name from the page. So it's going to be almost an exact duplicate, and it's going to be enough of a duplicate that I guarantee Google will recognize it as a duplicate. Then you backlink that page to get it to have more authority than the offending page. You catch what I'm saying? So you're going to make your duplicate page have more authority than the offending page, and then what will happen is Google will mark the offending page as duplicate content, and it won't be shown. Now you might say, well, then all I'm doing is creating another problem because I've taken this bad page and I've ranked it in Google instead of the other page. But you haven't, because you removed your client's name from the page. So this page, although it will rank in Google, it won't rank for your client's name or for your name. It'll rank for just other phrases on the page instead of your client's name. So Google will say, hey, this is the authority page. This other page is a duplicate. We're going to not show this duplicate page anymore. So that's another version of that. Another version is to make an exact duplicate of the offending page on the offending domain without your name or your client's name. Backlink it until the original gets marked as a duplicate. So this is a similar situation, but say, for instance, in this barren airfield example, you'd create a new complaint. Everything would be the same: military airfield, US, everything here, excessive noise, several days a week, 5 to 6 hours a day, landing directly overhead, blah, blah. All this would be exactly the same. Then you'd have to go and make a comment from another user called Lucy, exactly the same comment. Again, everything else is going to be the same on the page because their ads are going to be the same. All this stuff is going to be the same. You don't have to worry about that. You would have the word airfield dash aircraft noise. That would be the same. You try to have Lucy D or Lucy something as the user. You would try to post it again at 7:33 a.m. CST. You couldn't obviously do it on the same day, but you could do it on the same day of the week. Make it as closely resembling this original page as possible, but you're going to take out the name BARIN. That's the only difference. Google's going to recognize that as a duplicate because really it's mostly duplicated except for just a couple of words. It's an exact duplicate. And then you're going to backlink your new page to try to get this original page marked as a duplicate. So these are all, again, these are SEO related. I know I promised I wouldn't do SEO stuff, but in the case of difficult situations, these are the types of things that you need to do if you're resorting to SEO related stuff. So most of you guys already know this. Backlinking all the pages on page one except the offending page is best practice. Even if you're doing click-through rate reputation management, I would recommend you still do, backlinking and stuff like that, some of that stuff, especially if you have a long-term client, that you already have them as a client, you're trying to fix this problem. I would do all the best practices, create a YouTube video, rank it on page 1, create Facebook pages and everything on page 1, get them site links so they have a site links display. You want to do all that types of stuff, all the best practices, as well as the click-through rate stuff. So I know I went through that really fast, so let me know if you have any questions on that, on the SEO related stuff. I'll back up so you can see if you're taking notes, so you can see the techniques that I listed earlier. Any questions on that? Yeah, Jeff, that's the end. That's the end of my presentation. I'm willing to stay for questions as long as people want. But yeah, that's the end of the content. So Jeff, if you want to run, you can run, or anybody else who needs to run. I know this is a long class. I had a lot to cover. I covered it real fast, but that's the end of the content. So if you want to stay for questions, I'll answer as many questions as possible until we're done. Any questions? Okay, I see some questions coming in, but Aubrey's not posting them. I don't know if she's still there. Let me see. I see her still there. I'm going to jump in and get some of these. Okay, so Andrew Dale asked this. I promise this is not. I promise this is not. Okay, so Aubrey's posting them to the chat, but they're not showing up. Maybe I got disconnected. Okay, so Andrew asked how to sign up for your group. And I will send you all a link if you want to sign up from SEO Cash Club. This is more for if you're doing SEO related stuff. This would be where you would want to go. Let me send this out to everybody. Andrew included. There's the link. It should have appeared. If you want to jump into my SEO Cash Club, you can. Let me just send. Okay, next is how to get site links in the Cash Club. No, we did not cover how to get site links. I don't believe. I might have, but if you're on here and you're part of my SEO Cash Club and you want to know how to get site links, let me know, and I will make a video or a series of videos related just to that, because that's a huge part of reputation management, is making sure that your client or your name, that you have a site that you own that is the authority, the main authority of that, for that keyword phrase. And you need to get site links there, because you want the click-through rate to remain consistent on the sites that you own, and you want the click-through rate for bad links to go down. And that helps you with bad press in the future too. If you've got the first page of Google results filled with a YouTube video, a positive YouTube video, your Facebook page, your site links page, that's future-proofing your reputation, so that makes it really difficult for bad stuff to show up there. It's when you have like an absence of good, powerful pages relating to your company, and you've got an absence of those on page 1, that invites bad stuff to easily jump in on the first page instead of stuff that you want to see. Okay, any advice? So Mike asks, any advice for Yelp or Google local bad reviews? Yeah, I don't really. This is a difficult thing because with both Yelp and Google local bad reviews, I encourage you to try to contact the reviewer one-on-one. And the nice thing now with both Yelp and Google local is that they're associated with a real person now. Um, so I encourage you to interface directly with the reviewer. Go in there, the person that posted the bad review, and talk to them, email them, message them. It's worth it. It's really worth whatever it takes to contact them and see what you can do to get them to try to modify their review. And people that leave reviews, you can go in and you can send them a message on Yelp. And you know, if it was a genuine problem, uh, you need to fix that problem. If it was a genuine bad review because of bad service, bend over backwards. Don't try to get in a fight. Just do whatever to make them happy. It's worth it to get that review gone. The other thing that you can do is you can try to bump them down with other good reviews. Again, I'm probably not sharing anything new. I don't know if there's any, quick fixes or loopholes other than just doing the hard work of interfacing with these people and getting a lot of good reviews to bump the bad ones down. Yeah. So again, this course is focusing more on Google search results, not so much the, Yelp and Google local, but more just regular Google search. So. Okay, I want to make sure I got everything. Let me see. Can you give a possible example of how to get mugshot stuff off? Asks Jeff. Yeah, Aubrey, if you mark them answered, that'll help me. That'll help me to know which ones I still need to answer. Like you're doing, that's great. Okay, so this is really hard because I guarantee, like, a mugshot site has had numerous lawsuits and requests to get their stuff removed. Okay. And I'm about to crash, I could tell. Yep, there it goes. So mugshot sites, there's so many of them. And so, but what I would try to do is, first I'd try to pursue the web host if you can. And try to get that image removed from the web, either the website owner or the web host himself. That's going to be your best bet. Really, the best thing you can do is to try to prove that they're using your mugshot against your will for profit. The for-profit part is what takes it out of fair use. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but what takes it out of a fair use situation where they're actually allowed to use it legally and makes it illegal for them to use it is the profit motive. But again, a lot of these mugshot sites, this is what they do for a living. I mean, they've got mugshots, and it's so controversial they probably get all kinds of requests. So that's the first thing. I would also try the CTR thing on the images. You could even try the CTR thing on the image search area and try to see if that is if that would work, because I don't know if they use CTR to rank images. I'm not sure, but I know it's also Google's taking the images that show up here in the first page of search results. Google is taking from images that they already know that they're already ranking well in image search. You can see these first four right here are the exact same images that, oops, shoot, my screen's paused. Sorry, guys. I just realized my screen was paused. Um, the first four um, the first four images, let me show you again, so I didn't realize my screen was paused that whole time. These first four images here that they're showing on the bottom of your on the search results page are the same four that they're showing on the top here, the first four left to right in the images search. So if you can rank other images in image search to the top of image search, those will be the ones that'll get used here. Okay, now again, I know my sales letter said this is not related to linking and all that stuff, but for mugshots, I haven't really tested out this push button solution. I would definitely try it, but one thing that I know would work is just if you are able to get the existing bad mugshots down through traditional SEO. And the way you do that is, and I actually have this in my members area, my SEO Cash Club that I was showing you earlier, the images algorithm is pretty simple. I mean, it's going to take you posting a bunch of good images to authority pages that have this keyword phrase that you're targeting, the keyword phrase above and below the image, and the image, it helps if the image is named that as well, and it helps if you have some paragraphs of text related to that keyword phrase above and below the image, and then backlink the heck out of that page and backlink the heck out of the image itself. And those things added together are going to rank an image in local, or an image in search. Now I have more detailed videos about this in my members area. Again, it's sort of outside the scope of this course, but that is that's a sort of quick, simple overview of ranking an image in local image search. And again, if you can do that for 5 or 6 images, they will be the ones that will appear in web search when you do a search for your name or your client's name. Okay, does your client getting software you presented in August work for finding bad reputation management clients? Yes, it would work. It would work great for that, just so you know, Dusty. How did you grow such an awesome beard? It's epic. Aaron, awesome question. All I did was just kept it going, just kept it growing. That's the way to do it, Aaron. If you want to grow an epic beard, you got to get through the itchy stage. Don't shave it. Don't give up. Keep it going. Shave the sides occasionally. It'll help it to grow long and not wide, which looks, wide is sort of more the hobo look. That's how you do it. How do I fight back if a competitor uses these techniques against me? Dennis, you can fight back by keeping your CTR high on your page that you want to rank high. And you can do it exactly the same way through microworkers and just keep a steady stream of good clicks coming through to make sure your CTR is high. You can also help if your page is sticky, that your competitor is using these techniques against you. If your page is sticky, meaning people don't leave it, when they click on it, they find what they're looking for, and make your title tag something that is really attractive and really elicits people's attention. Again, this blue underlined text that Google grabs, they grab it from your title tag that I showed you earlier in the code. So if that is something that makes people click, your click-through rate will naturally be higher, even if they're using these exact techniques against you. Okay. How to market this service to restaurants? Ariel says, I would not market it based, you said using Yelp. I wouldn't base it using Yelp because, again, the focus of this wasn't really Yelp. You want to find restaurants that have a problem. You want to find restaurants that have bad press or bad results on page 1. And again, if you go to the Michigan Judiciary website, like I showed you, and then you do a case search, and then you do a search for restaurant. Let's do this. You're going to find restaurants that have been involved in lawsuits. And there's going to be a lot of them, I bet. I would be willing to bet. And go to them and say, hey, I found this court case is showing up for your business name. I can fix that for you. That's how I would do it for restaurants. Okay, in the case of 6 or 7 bad pieces, would the chances be good or bad of getting it removed? Man, again, like I haven't tested on the Anthony, but I would say you have a good chance. I mean, if you're going to have to send clicks to every single page on page 2 of Google and try to get all of those pages bumped onto page 1. And again, SEO is a zero-sum game. If you can get pages to move up, other pages have to move down to replace it. So that's how I would, if you got 6 or 7 bad pieces, and I think you can do it. But I would I would go all your options, man. I would do backlinking. I would get YouTube videos. You know, I would just do press releases, do everything you can do to fill up the front page with content that you want. I think you can do it. I just again, it might take a little more than just a click-through technique. You might have to do all the above, but I think you can do it. Again, if this is a client you don't have, I probably wouldn't try to take them on. You're taking on a big battle. But if it's a client that's already your client, then I would go to any lengths just to do that. They will love you for it. Okay, Dennis asks, if you use 500 clicks for 300 searches a month, then can you use 500 proxies to do the same thing yourself? And what's a good source for cheap proxies, not Scrapebox? Yeah, so I haven't tested this out with proxies. I know you're talking about using the best macros Gtraffic bot with proxies. And I haven't tested it out. The only issue with this, I could give you a lot of sources of cheap proxies, but a lot of them have been identified by Google as proxies, which means they're going to discount any traffic going through those IP addresses. It's possible you could do it, and it's definitely worth it. It would be way cheaper, obviously way cheaper than doing micro workers. But the risk there would be that you'd spend a lot of time running traffic through proxies, and then proxies would be identified as proxies by Google. So that's the concern there. Okay, would the CTR method work good for moving up a local service in places that I just started for a new client? Maybe have the microworkers click on some of the local citation sites that I've put their info on, and the YouTube video splash page I set up. I would definitely try this out, Jeff. Again, I have tested this extensively on a local pack, and it seems like it works, but it's temporary. So the page will get bumped up based on CTR, but then it gets bumped back down after a couple of weeks. So if you're talking about a local pack, I'm not sure that it would work. If you're talking about organic results, that would be a great option. Really, any site you're trying to bump up and down, I would, if you have the money, if it's client work and you've got the profit margin to do it, send some clicks from micro workers through there to solidify their CTR and make it high. Phil asks, if you are sending links to 8 sites, then should you buy about 1,000 clicks? I would separate. Yeah, you're gonna need, but I would separate out the clicks. Don't do 1,000 clicks on one job, because remember, the way microworkers does it is they'll only allow one worker to work on one job a single time. They won't allow it multiple times. So if you want to really utilize all the micro workers that are there, then you want to make those into separate tasks. If you're dealing with buying thousands of clicks on micro workers, separate the tasks out like I showed you earlier, one task per site that you want people to click on. And that way you'll maximize the micro, because there is a, obviously there's a finite number of micro workers. So another thing you can do if you're really dealing with massive clicks is go to Mechanical Turk. Again, you're going to get banned eventually, and you have to sort of pretend that it's a research type task, like show me which title, which search result in Google you think is most interesting, or something like that. It can't be blatantly manipulating CTR, but you can get away with getting a good number of clicks on Amazon Mechanical Turk before they ban you. But you want to make sure you have disposable accounts. That's another way you can get a lot more clicks and a lot more workers if you're willing to throw it out. What to search for in the UK instead of Michigan Judiciary website. So I don't really know what it's called in the UK, Robert. That's a great question. If anybody knows how to search for a judicial website in the UK, if you could post it, and then I'll post it to everybody. The other thing that's unique about the US is all court documents are public domain for the Freedom of Information Act. So they're made public, and so that's part of the advantage for us, disadvantage for business owners, advantage for reputation management consultants. Creates a lot of problems for us to fix. I don't know in the laws in the UK if it's the same, or if they keep that stuff private or what. Okay, Austin says that it's SRA. Let me see here. SRA.org.uk. Solicitors Regulation Authority. Okay, so I don't know if I'm in the right place. This looks like it's specifically related to sales soliciting type legal issues. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, this would be one. I think there's probably other legal type issues, but you could look on this site for solicitors that have gotten in trouble. If their information is posted publicly, you might be able to find some clients that way. I'm not sure how to find. I would just start Googling. I'm really not sure how to find the judicial website in the UK. Okay, do you use escrow.com for payments, or is it PayPal? I have set up escrow.com. Escrow.com is great for this because if it's a higher dollar amount, you can make sure that the client actually has the money, because they have to actually put the money in escrow account, and they can make sure that they don't have to pay if you don't deliver the results. So escrow.com is great. I wouldn't do it for a couple of $100, but if it's 500, 600, 1,000 or more, and you're guaranteeing results, escrow.com is great. It's great because you can set up a page. You can say, hey, here's an escrow.com transaction. Click here to pay, and it'll be deposited into escrow, and you won't have to pay unless I deliver the results. So escrow.com works great. You can also do it through elance.com if you don't mind them having to sign up for an Elance account. Use Elance and use their milestone payments. That's another way you could do it. I don't use PayPal that much, just because if you're trying to move a lot of money through PayPal, a lot of times they end up suspecting you of fraud, which is weird. But so I don't really like using PayPal, but I just use a merchant account myself. So. In the Michigan restaurant example, are those cases showing up in Google? I'm getting confused as to why you're approaching them to remove a court case. Yeah, you're approaching them because, well, first you got to check and see if if it is showing up. So let's do a little test. This is totally off the top of my head, so I haven't actually done this. But let's do this specific thing. Restaurant search, and then we're going to find a restaurant, and then we're going to search. We're going to find a restaurant that is involved in a lawsuit, and then we're going to search for that restaurant's name in Google. I'm not sure why this site is dragging so bad, but okay. So let's pick Blazer Foods. Okay. We're going to do a Google search for Blazer Foods. Oh man, they got all kinds of problems. Look at this, Blazer Foods. Anybody want Blazer Foods as a client? So actually, the PDF from the Michigan website is not showing up for this, but other sites are showing up. Legal.com. Look at this. Blazer Foods Inc. GGM, a find law link is showing up. See if any of this. They've got 2 links related to this lawsuit showing up. So right there, you've got someone with a problem right away. And you could send them this screenshot and say, look, when I search for your website, the first page that shows up is about this lawsuit. Do you want me to fix that for you? So that's why you're doing it. Okay, Dusty asks, is a pack a Google 10 box? Yeah, it used to be called a 10 box, Dusty, and now most people call it a local pack. Some people, those phrases are just used interchangeably, but that's what I'm talking about, the local 10 box that's on the front page. Will the CTR campaign alone help to bring an established Web 2.0 site to the first page? Yes, I mean, that's sort of outside the scope of this. This course is more related to bumping bad results down, but it really depends less on the Web 2.0 site. It depends more on how many searches that search phrase get. If it gets a lot of searches, it's going to be hard to skew the CTR enough to get that page to bump up. But if it's a lower search volume phrase, then you should be able to bump that up. It's not going to take as many clicks to show to change the game as far as change the CTR for that one link. Okay, what is a good search term to look for reputation management type jobs in Elance? I've found entering online reputation management to return kind of sparse results. In the past, I've just done search for just reputation by itself. A lot of times clients don't know about the word reputation management, but if you do a search for reputation, a lot of times that'll bring up more results. You could also do a search for ORM if the client knows what he's looking for. Online reputation management is shortened ORM, so that's another search that you could do. But like if I do a search right here, I'm not signed into Elance, but like I just did a search. This is all the pages involving reputation that are jobs that have been posted on Elance. So look at this: reputation management expert in jobs, a reputation manager. Let's see here. Reputation management. Hold on. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for specific jobs. Hold on. Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff here. Reverse SEO, online reputation management. As you can see, I mean, this is definitely going on Elance. All right, any other questions? All right. Okay, so with higher volume search results, would it be more strategic to focus on creating positive results and backlinking? When you weigh it out, the money needed to skew higher volume results would be better spent backlinking and creating results. Yeah, Reiko, you're right. I mean, if it's a high volume, meaning like thousands of searches a month, um, you know, you want to, yeah, you definitely want to focus on creating high value properties that can rank long term. Um, yeah, I found most reputation management tasks, like for the instance, the one we searched for earlier, like Blazer Foods Inc. Guarantee Blazer Foods INC. I haven't looked, but I guarantee that's a low volume phrase, even though it's a problem that they would probably be willing to pay a good amount of money for. There's probably not a lot of people searching for that phrase, so it's probably not going to be that hard. But yeah, if you're dealing with a high volume phrase, you want to go more for an SEO approach. Um, so you basically bump up the positive results, but the negative will be on the first page. No, it won't, because everything on the first page, there's only there's only 8 to 11 slots. So if you bump positive results up, the negative is going to be bumped off the first page to make room for the positive ones that you bump down. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Well, it looks like I got everybody's questions. And yeah, so Dusty says, could you not also get paid for bumping up the other sites? Yes, you could. That gets into a little more of just a traditional, quoting a traditional SEO job. And again, this works best for low search volume phrases. So a lot of times there's not as much of a market for ranking for low volume search phrases. The advantage of this is that it works best for low volume search phrases, and there's a little niche there where, these low search volume search phrases, even though not a lot of people are searching for them, there is a premium price tag attached to being able to manipulate the search results for those low volume phrases. So it's sort of a little window where we can use click-through rate. Again, if you're trying to bump up searches, a lot of times those end up being high volume search phrases that are harder to do with manipulating CTR. Is there a suggestion or need of this webinar for Hispanics? Yeah, I mean, in a Spanish-speaking market, this would work exactly the same, Ariel, in a Spanish-speaking market. I mean, it's you would need to go to this Spanish-speaking country versions of Google to find people with similar problems, but it would be the exact same process, and it should work exactly the same no matter where you are. CTR is something, and manipulating user behavior is something that Google is doing across the board. So, yeah, 50 million consumers in the Spanish-speaking market. So, there's not a lot of people doing this with the English-speaking market, so you guarantee there's not going to be a lot of people doing it for the Spanish-speaking markets either. All right, good. Well, You folks have really stuck it out with me for this. Wow, we're going on almost 3 hours. Um, but I'm going to end this webinar now. And again, I encourage you guys to apply all the techniques I taught here. And um, if you run into a situation, obviously I can't do this like in perpetuity, like for the next decade. If you email me in like 9 years and say, hey, I tried this CTR technique and it didn't work, but if you have clients that you're working this on the next number of months, and you use my techniques, the ones that I taught you here, and the backup techniques that I taught you, and you're still stuck, shoot me an email. I will record a video for you to let you know what you need to do to get those results buried for you or for your client. First, do all the stuff I taught you here, though. And if you can show me, yeah, I did all the stuff you taught me, and I did it right, and it didn't work, then there are more difficult cases out there where you might need some additional help. So, those of you that have paid for this, I will be willing to record a video for you, analyzing your specific search result page and giving you my specific recommendations in a private video. It won't be shared to anyone else, and we can and we'll help you out there. But you're going to find a lot of you folks are going to find just doing this CTR thing. It's going to work great. Even I know there's been guys on here, I'm not going to say who, but that are posting that they've been already doing this with CTR. Again, I think some people used to use the HMA technique with the with software and stuff when it's still like the final frontier of search results. So jump on this stuff, folks, and I will see you. If you want to join my SEO Cash Club, again, we cover a lot of the SEO related stuff in there if you're going an SEO route for reputation management, and we add content if people request it. I'll email somebody here. Aubrey had an emergency, so she had to go. So now I'm manning this on my own. Okay, well, I'm going to end this webinar now, and hope to see you folks soon. Talk to you later.